Hello mamas, and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to be sharing something that isn't super common, but it was a very big turning point to my family and how we ate our meals and prepared food. My 3-year-old has severe lactose intolerance. Any type of dairy at all hits his little belly like a virus, and it either comes back up or shoots straight through. So, sorry to be TMI to just start out this video like that, but I want to tell you guys about how it started. He was a wee baby. Well, I'll start by saying in the hospital with him, there was no indication. Literally, they forgot to bring me breakfast up directly after giving birth, and I ate crackers with squirt cheese on them that I brought in my hospital bag. Like, I had no idea. He didn't show any signs of distress the first about week and a half of his life. It was just kind of sleeping all day, not really many problems. He would get fussy and restless at night, but I was like, okay, he's a newborn. He's getting used to being outside the womb. But I remember the second week he was home and we were just kind of going about our business. I asked my husband, because he was our second child, and I was like, I do not remember JJ, our oldest, crying this much and spitting up and just having a really hard time. And what was different about this time around is he was actually latching. He breastfed really well, so I didn't really have to pump. I was making what he needed, and I was just really confused to why he was always restless, always acting hungry and irritable. I had a hand pump and I started pumping just a little to make sure I was getting enough milk, and I was. And so I was like, okay, maybe it's just colic. So I just kind of ignored it because my oldest didn't really have colic, but I'd heard about it and all the restlessness in the evenings along with the nighttime, and I was like, okay, it's probably colic. Well, he's about a month old when I'm like, okay, this is too much crying. He won't let me set him down. I was just holding him in the baby carrier all the time. If he would fall asleep and I would put him down, he would wake right back up and start crying. And he had a lot of excessive gas. We tried Colic Calm, just the gas drops and all that stuff, and nothing was working. So the pediatrician told me to go ahead and cut out dairy. So I did that. I was like, okay, let's cut out dairy from my diet. About a week goes by and I don't really see any difference. So I just start eating normal again. And so this is why I say he had colic along with being lactose intolerant, because whether I ate dairy or not, he kind of acted the same. But later on, after nothing worked, I was like, okay, let me try formula. So I got regular formula, like the milk-based formula, Parent's Choice or something. And I tried that and it was a little better, but not really. And I was just praying for a miracle. He used to stay up between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. and just scream. We would have to ride him around the neighborhood or walk outside and look at the stars with him, and sometimes it would be too cold to do either of those things, and so we would just pace the floor. I just remember wanting to cry and pace, and just I also felt just angry that I couldn't do anything. And of course I didn't hurt the baby, but I was like really upset, and it was almost just like traumatizing. We tried music, we tried white noise, which helped a little bit, but eventually I did get a can of formula in the mail called Nutramigen, and it's dairy free. And so I started that, and about 3 days after starting that, he was like a normal baby. He started smiling. He was like 2.5 months old, and all he had done up to that point was scream. And so I know that I was starting to feel a little bit crazy, and I know that a little bit of the colic had worn off. And so when we tried Nutramigen, he might have been around 3 months. when we finally started trying Nutramigen, and then it went out of stock everywhere. At this time, it was 2022. Nutramigen was not on any shelf except for Walgreens. They wouldn't take WIC, they would only take EBT. And so I had to pay like $35 for a little cylinder can of formula, and I just wanted to cry. I had also I used to have to go to the surrounding like 4 cities and just look around at different Walmarts and Food Lions, and anytime we'd see some, I'd grab 2, but then I'd be like, if there was more than that, I would need to save some for the other moms that could be in my boat. I was like, man. But I remember feeling so hopeless, and there was some times where I was like, okay, we don't even have formula for the next day. And I would be so stressed out because I couldn't find it anywhere. But by that point, my milk had dried up and there was nothing I can do. And so I was telling you guys in a video a couple weeks ago that I breastfed my oldest for 2 years. And so this was all new territory. When you become a mom of a second child, sometimes you think you know everything before going into it. And then all of a sudden, your experience is like polar opposite. And that's what was happening to me. But thankfully, after a couple months, WIC started getting like crates of the formula in, and they would give me a month's supply at a time, or like my 9 cans at a time, and I could just finally breathe. That was the hardest year of my entire life, along with, like, it was the year after COVID and everybody's immune systems had gone down significantly. And both of my kids and my husband and I stayed sick with something, a new thing every single month that year. We had like stomach viruses, strep throat, the flu, just anything you could think of. We were getting all the colds and stuff. And so I was like, phew. And so sometimes I look back at that time in my life and I'm like, how in the world did we get through that? And then when my son turned 1, we moved straight on into lactate. I had no idea how I was going to feed him with him being lactose intolerant, because I had never had to meal plan around that, but it's super easy. You just find things as a mom. I get the silk yogurt with granola and strawberries. He loves that for breakfast. You can make oatmeal and all these different things, and rice and chicken. You can never go wrong with that. So a lot of times I'll make like ACP type stuff and put the cheese on the side for everybody else that can eat it. And then he'll have, salsa or something. There are ways to get around lactose intolerance, and I'm really glad that he didn't have a bigger issue than being lactose intolerant. But I tell you what, that first 4 months of his life, I did not think I was ever going to get through that. It felt so dark, so scary. I thought there was something seriously, seriously wrong with my baby, but it ended up being a cross between colic and lactose intolerance. So if you have a baby and they will not calm down for anything, I would definitely try Nutramigen, and if it works for your baby, definitely tell your provider. I know a lot of providers can help, and WIC can help if you can apply for WIC. But yes, definitely, I don't know how many moms suffer with their babies through these things, but it was a hard time. I don't even know if all this made sense. I was kind of trauma dumping on you guys, but this is part of my story, and it's part of Diego's story, my little one. And he's 3 now, and he's super healthy, super happy, hungry all the time. As long as it doesn't have dairy in it, he's golden. He eats so much. And Nutri-Grain bars, he is obsessed with those things. And mini muffins, all the things. But I feel very blessed that that was all that was wrong. And if you are going through any of the parts that I just talked about, if you're going through colic or just long nights with a sleepless little baby, my heart's with you. I send my love, send my prayers, because that was the hardest time of my life up to date. And so, yeah, that's all I have for this video. I wanted to share it with you guys and show that not every part of motherhood is glamorous, and it's pretty scary, but that is all. And I hope you guys stay tuned for more mom content, and I will talk to you guys soon.